I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America. Independent.
You know what's really funny about this? Like, Brandon will be like, Republicans are attacking democracy. And then, like, it's the most tepid speech possible that you could deliver, where they'll be like, and we will not stand for that. And then you got probably Tucker Carlson going, President Biden delivered an incredible speech last night saying that you should be able to execute white Americans. What's going on? President Biden declared war on every white person in America. Like, he'll literally just be like, there's an attack on democracy and I will not stand for it. And then Tucker Carlson will literally turn around and say some shit like, we're live from Arlington, Virginia Cemetery tonight with some incredible news. President Joe Biden has decided to launch an attack on white America. One more precog. Tucker Carlson is going to mention the red. Tucker Carlson is going to mention the red and be like, it's red for communism. Back in the day, America used to be a proud nation, a nation that fought against the Cold War, not for the Cold War. How fitting. Immediately in the aftermath of Gorbachev's death, Karl Marx himself has decided to come back. A specter is haunting the United States of America, and that specter is President Joe Biden. As you said, Mr. Unity just gave the most divisive presidential speech I've ever seen. Exactly. Even more insane than you'd expect. What is this? Tucker Carlson is doing what? Tucker Carlson is crediting Taylor Lorenz with being one of the 3 key tenets of Biden's authoritarian regime.
Authoritarian revolution has had 2 things in common: a coherent worldview and a competent military force. Lenin, for example, Lenin had the writings of Karl Marx to provide an ideological justification for his revolution, and he had the military genius of Leon Trotsky to pull it off. Together, these 2 things were enough to topple.
Fuck! I didn't call it. I said Marx. I did not think he would pull up Lenin and Trotsky.
The czar and take control of the world's biggest country. For all his power, Joe Biden does not have these 2 things. Marx and Trotsky? No. Joe Biden has Taylor Lorenz and Mark Milley. Lorenz is the ideological anchor of the Biden White House. She's its muse, its Che Guevara. They are inspired by her revolutionary fervor. But Taylor Lorenz does not write weighty books. Twitter is her canvas. And having surveyed her oeuvre, we can tell you that Lorenz's main idea appears to be that anyone who doesn't wear an N95 mask in the shower is a racist. That's the sum total of her ideology. Now, there are probably several dozen people in Cambridge who agree with...
Okay, one, it's not that I've fallen off. I think it's that Tucker Carlson is unhinged. Like, he didn't even do the classic, like, Joe Brandon is calling an attack on every single white person shtick. Okay? Instead, he did the... Joe Brandon is trying to do a cancel culture by way of Taylor fucking Lorenz. Tucker Carlson reacts to the Biden speech. Yeah, they're a threat. Says the guy with a blood red Nazi background and Marine standing behind him. It's a complete outrage. This is truly nuts and threatening to the future of the United States.
At the top of the show, because we didn't really know how else to respond, but Joe Biden really has crossed over into a very dangerous place. Tonight, he declared in a speech in Philadelphia that anyone who disagrees with him is a threat to the country. Here's part of what Biden said.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. That the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Yeah, they're a threat, says the guy with the blood red Nazi background and Marines standing behind him. It's a complete outrage that this is being sanctioned as a White House event. In other words, that this is the approved position of our government. It's totally immoral. And then the guy who encouraged riots in 2020 accused MAGA Republicans of somehow threatening the rule of law in the United States. Watch this.
MAGA Republicans do not...
So here, if liberal media had a spine and wanted to be like at least relatively entertaining, god damn it, dude. If they wanted to be even a little bit entertaining, they would take a fucking page out of the Republican media's notebook and completely flip the narrative and hyper-focus on the hysterical Republicans in this situation. Show examples of Donald Trump doing infinitely more fascist shit. Show how fucking ridiculous they are being, how baby-like they are behaving, okay? And turn around and say, look, These guys, they can't have it both ways. They loved it when Donald Trump did it, but when Brandon says understandable things, like the Republican Party is out of control, and it is true, it is out of control, people lose their minds. Why can't we here in the United States of America say what's actually open, say what everyone is too afraid to say? The Republicans are out of control. They are full-blown the Donald Trump MAGA party, and everyone knows it. There are still honest people out there. There's still honest-to-God patriots out there who probably look at the Republican Party and feel threatened that they still are forcing themselves to vote for a Republican Party that does not represent their best interests. Something along those lines. Just like, dude, live it up. Live it up. And fucking do the same thing. Just like flip the narrative on them.
Respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse.
What's going on? Who supports these MAGA Republicans? Not me. And I bet it's not you either. That's so good.
Refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country.
This is truly nuts and threatening to the future of the United States. It's hard to believe he just did that, but he did.
Truly nuts. The former president of the United States of America, after being like understandably investigated by the Department of Justice, turned around on his own social media website because he got banned from the other social media website for literally inciting fucking an insurrection, said, I'm the real president. They should do another election. That's the country we're living in. The fact that the most libbed up Democrats aren't fucking regularly screeching from every fucking mountaintop is wild to me. It's gotten to a point where like what Donald Trump is doing is so comical. It got to a point where it's comical because he did it so much. And so, I mean, he was so repetitive with his like insanity that we kind of got used to it. And it's like we're laughing at it and shit. But like ultimately, it's what you make of it, right? If you wanted to, you could cut so much media out of this and just be like, Republicans are crazy, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? These were the same guys calling Brandon senile. Now they're like, look, he's an evil tyrant. Yeah.